What's up, you guys? We have all the dogs at my house right now. It's my dogs, plus my mom's dog. Ollie, do you want to say hi? Ollie? Yeah, so that's going to be going on in the background. But a couple weeks ago, I posted a picture on my Instagram and asked you guys to ask your competition questions, like what you had wanted to know in regards to competing. And I got a few, and they're all good questions. And a couple of them are long enough to almost like warrant their own video. So I'm gonna answer 3 questions that you guys asked. So we're just gonna go answer questions. The first one, Let's Get Healthy with JoJo, asked, do you count veggies when you count macros? Because veggies on carbs. I'm guessing that she meant veggies are carbs. So this is kind of a loaded question because I used to not. When I was in prep, I just had a meal plan and then I had a certain like amount, like a cup of green vegetables with each meal. I didn't weigh them out. But now that I'm doing more of a flexible dieting approach, I do count vegetables as carbs. I count vegetables for whatever they are, carbs, fat, and protein. And with my clients, I take both routes. It depends on the person. So if I think that this person, if I partition them a certain amount of carbs, and I don't think that they're going to use those carbs towards vegetables, then I will give them a lower allotment of carbs and then require they have meal whatever, like say it's 3, 4, and 5 with at least a cup of vegetables, untracked, unweighed, unmeasured, just to make sure that they're eating their vegetables. Because there are some people that if you give them 200 carbs, those are all going to come from cereal. Like they won't touch vegetables. So that's kind of my stance on that. It really is individual, and it's kind of like if you can control yourself to make sure you get enough vegetables in your carb allotment, then track them. And if not, just lower your carbs and have free vegetables. Cindy LE1 asked, how do you handle cravings? Lucky for you, I have a bunch of videos that are kind of like cheater recipes that are delicious. So like my low carb microwave cake, that's something that I ate a lot, and especially in the beginning of prep when I was doing more flexible dieting. Once I got on a meal plan, I stopped doing stuff like that. But like Greek yogurt is a huge saver for me, especially now. I'll put stevia in it and berries and it's delicious, or throw it in the blender with some berries. I have a recipe for post-workout Progurt that's delicious. It's just like frozen yogurt. I'll make sure I link all this stuff below also. But I try my best to make a like macro-friendly or healthier version of whatever it is that I'm craving. I usually find that pretty helpful. When that doesn't cut it, I'll just wait until I have a refeed and make sure I fit that food in. So for example, if I've been craving like Menchie's, which I'm a huge Menchie's fan, when I have a higher carb day and just fit in it my macros. So I'll plan for it. Like I'll put it in first thing in the morning and then work around that, even though I tell people to keep their carbs around their workouts. If it's something that you want and you're gonna have it later in the day, put it in to your day at the beginning of the day and work around it, and then you know you always have room for it. Pain-Free Kitchen, she's so sweet by the way, you should go check her out. She said, when you brought your own food to events, did you have any trouble explaining to people why, and what did you tell yourself to stay positive as they ate their food and you ate yours? And pep talk mantras that worked. So this is a 3-part question and I will answer it as such. But the first one, I actually have a story about this, and I was in prep from December till April. I was prepping. So I ate all of my own food, and most of that time I was on a meal plan. So I was eating exactly like weighed out everything. There was really no flexibility in there. And my husband plays rugby and we had to go to a rugby formal, and I knew the food was going to be terrible. I've gone to this before. Well, even if it wasn't terrible, I couldn't eat it. So I had to bring my own food. So I had my plastic Tupperware. It was like January or February, so it was cold. So we just left it in the car until I had to eat. And then we brought it in, and it was at a bar, and I gave it to the bartender and asked them to heat it up, and we gave them $5 and they heated it up for me. And I ate that while everybody else was eating banquet food. And it was like the event that sticks out in my head the most because everybody was like dressed up and it was like, you know, a big deal. It was a formal event and I brought my own food to it. And it's kind of funny because people just ask you questions. Like they'll come up and be like, why are you doing that? Why are you eating that? Like, why aren't you eating the food? And it's not hard for me to just say, I have a goal in mind and this is conducive to my goal. But yeah, so I did bring all my own food to events. What was her second question? What did you say to yourself to stay positive as you ate your food? I just am really good at reminding myself of my goals, even like long-term. Long-term goals are harder, but I try to make short-term goals in prep as well. And it's really not about that. It's about the big picture. But like mentally, when you say, you know, this week, and it's usually, I try not to make it like a scale goal. I'll just say I am 100% going to stick to my meal plan this week and not deviate, not have an extra bite, not change something out, whatever, and make that my goal for the week and try to obtain that. So positively speaking, you just remind yourself like, you've gone 6 days to reach this goal. You have 1 day left. Why would you blow it? And that's kind of how I went about that. Any pep talk mantras that worked? God, that's all I'm trying to remember. To me, really, it just became a habit. So I slipped up a lot in the beginning, but towards the end, it was just so like cut and dry and such a habit that there really was no like pep talks to myself, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to say. I definitely had to remind myself to stay positive and always remind myself of why I was doing it. Remind myself that it was for me and that basically if I didn't do what I wanted to do, I'd be very disappointed in myself, and I hold myself to very high standards. So being disappointed in myself for me is something that it was enough motivation to not deviate from plan, if that makes sense. So yeah, I know a lot of people do like goal boards and like really cool sayings in their offices, and I have a friend who like puts post-it notes like even in her car and like on her desk at work, and that are just like good reminders. So I don't do that, but I see value in it. I think it could be really helpful. Yeah, just constantly remembering like this is what you have in mind. And it's kind of like the same in the off season now when I am putting on weight and eating more food. I just had to keep my goals in mind. Like I'm trying to build muscle so that the next time I cut, I have a better physique, and just remembering that as I put on weight to kind of reassure myself like that I'm doing the right thing. So it's not necessarily like short term, those goals are not pleasing to me. I definitely would like to stay leaner, but in the long term, I know that it'll be worth it. So you just have to remind yourself of what your long-term goals are. And I'm getting repetitive, but you get the idea. So those were the 3 questions that I was going to answer. I hope that I answered them adequately for you guys. If you have any other questions related to competing or fitness in general, leave them below. If I get enough, I'll do a whole separate video. If not, I'll just answer yours directly down in the comments below. So yeah, that is gonna wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in a vlog this week, I'm sure. Bye guys!